Welcome to Pit Stop with Don and James. I'm Don.
And I am James. Woo! We are back.
We're back, man. Welcome back.
I know. I'm starting off a little slightly cross-dressed. I've got my Williams hat, but I am rocking the McLaren quarter zip here.
Very good. It's looking nice. It's just nice to see you. I got my just generic stuff on. I got my Formula One hoodie on, which is really cool on the back. It's all Austin-y stuff. But then, of course, my Circuit of the Americas. Of course, you notice I've decked out a little bit since the last.
Yeah, I was gonna pull it out, man. You got some great posters behind you. And what looks like the circuits for the calendar for 2025.
So I gotta shout out my buddy Greg, who we've talked about on this podcast before. He went to Spa last year, but he got a 3D printer, so he 3D printed me this stuff over here. This lower one here is the 2025 calendar with all the circuits on it, and then 2026 calendar with the circuits on it. And then, of course, he did this Circuit of the Americas. He knows how much I love COTA. And then we actually did a little Cadillac logo. It's like a coaster, but I hung it up there, and I got another one that looks like just like this.
Oh, there you go.
He's getting psyched about Cadillac. So am I. We can definitely talk about that. And then these posters I got at the race in Austin last year, and I just I framed them up and finally got them hung up here. So getting a little bit of a reflection from my light up there, but that's the only blemish is this light. If it was right above Lewis's head, that'd be kind of cool, like a little
more halo.
of a halo. Anyway,
there you go, man. No, it looks sharp, but it looks great. So much to do, so much to talk about. Last season is over, and we're kind of at that midway point of next season is already upon us. We have unofficial testing, right? They're doing a shakedown in, I think it's this week. Yeah. We are, of course, recording on a Sunday, and I think their shakedown starts tomorrow.
Yep, so, in Barcelona.
In Barcelona. Of course, it is a private test, which means we'll be getting all the news a week later when it leaks. So yeah, we'll have something to talk about next time.
Yeah, they're not broadcasting anything. And I guess, do they do a shakedown like this anytime there's a rules change or something like that? Like this, I don't remember this.
I think it's just whenever there's something dramatic, like because so much is changing for the upcoming season. I think they need just kind of a little pre-season testing.
Yeah. Well, the shakedown is pretty long. It's 5 days.
But you can only test for 3.
Right. And there's no limits, I guess, on the number of kilometers they can go or any of that stuff, right? So they get a lot of freedom to go out there and really push their car. From what I've heard, this is not a thing to try to test their performance or get much of a gauge of how fast they're going to be compared to each other. It's more, hey, we just built a brand new vehicle. Let's make sure that all the parts work. So
yeah,
more of that than really giving us any look into who's fast and who's not.
Exactly. And of course, you have 2 new teams coming in, right? Audi is taking over for Sauber. So they're going to definitely want to, get as much extra track time as they can. Same thing with Cadillac. Even though Cadillac's not doing their own power units, they still need something to go on. So hopefully with the testing that they've done previously, I don't know if you saw the leaked video of Cadillac running around. I think they were at Barcelona running around. It sounds amazing. Looks good. I'm hoping, all this extra testing will help them out.
I'm pumped. I think it's going to be so cool to see Cadillac. I don't even know that they're going to do great, but Bottas will be back on the grid. Checo Perez back on the grid. Brand new American team on the grid. It's going to be very exciting. And their car, the livery that they brought out for the testing was pretty dope, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so stoked. I'm not really a fan of the Audi livery. I hope they punch it up just a little bit more than what it currently is. But I think they're more focused on performance than what their car looks like at the moment.
I liked the color scheme for Audi, the gray, the dark gray, the black, the red. I liked that, but you're right, it was a little plain.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
so I don't know what you feel. We've been starting to see some videos of the new cars popping up here and there on social media and whatnot. And man, they are noticeably shorter. It looks like we've gotten so used to seeing those long F1 cars, and it looks
Yes.
squished, and it's way bigger than an old Formula One car. But after all these years of looking at the longer frame, it looks so compact to me. Does it? Did you feel the same way, or?
Yeah, I sort of feel the same way. Of course, I have been saying since the beginning that the cars need to be shorter and go back to the smaller format. So I think this is a step in the right direction. I don't think they're as small as they should be, but it's definitely getting better. So
I mean, it's got to get way shorter than even what it is now if we want Monaco to be interesting again, I think.
yes, exactly. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that Monaco will ever go back to being interesting.
Yeah.
I still stand by it. If you want a very interesting race at Monaco that's really good to watch, go watch the Formula E Grand Prix going around it, because that was actually a very entertaining race to watch.
Yeah, I need to go check that out. I actually haven't watched Formula E in a while, but yeah, that's a good idea.
I think Formula E is already into their season. I think they've already had their first race. Of course, today being Sunday the 25th, Daytona 24 is going on. And the Daytona 24 is where I think of, okay, now the racing season has started. So super stoked. As it stands right now, Porsche Penske is leading 1-2. I think they're going to take it, barring any unforeseen circumstance, with only an hour to go. But I digress.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a huge one. This reminds me, I just watched Ford versus Ferrari the other day. Just rewatched it,
Such a good
and
movie.
it's a good movie. It's a really fun movie to watch. I recommend that one to anybody. Matt Damon, great in it. There's pretty good overall cast. Christian Bale. Um, yeah, man, great flick. But that brings up something else too. Uh, Ford is. Am I mistaken, or is Ford going to be doing power units with Red Bull? Is that true?
Yeah, they are for sure doing power units here. Let me pull it up, make sure I'm not speaking out of turn. Yes.
So we could really see Ford versus Ferrari situation in Formula One, right? We could have a Red Bull versus Ferrari. Although I will say Ferrari didn't really impress us that much last year. But yeah,
Yeah, so two new engine suppliers, which is, of course, Audi, and then Red Bull powertrains. Red Bull, of course, being partnered with Ferrari. Red Bull being partnered with Ford. And then Cadillac, not doing their own power units yet. They are running a Ferrari engine, I do believe. So more to come. More to come on that, and see. My hope is that Cadillac will build their own engine, and I think they have the plans to do it 27, 28, I think is what I read. So fingers crossed.
yeah. Well, we've been waiting. We've been hearing about and waiting for a Red Bull powertrain for a while. So I'm very curious about that. Uh, I if I'm not mistaken, Renault is out, right? Used to be a very prominent power unit supplier. Renault's not making power units anymore. Am I saying that right?
Mercedes is going to supply engines to, obviously, Mercedes, McLaren, Williams, and Alpine. So you're right, Renault is no longer in the mix.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. Honda's doing a full manufacturer for Aston Martin. So Honda, of course, has been in the game a while. They've been kind of in and out of the game a little bit. I think they could potentially do well. I mean, they've had success in other series. I don't see why F1 would be any different.
Well, I mean, they provided championship power unit to Red Bull, so I think they're pretty good. I don't know why that partnership ended, right? Really. Maybe they were mad about Yuki.
I don't know. Well, Honda had their own thing for a while, but yeah, losing Yuki wasn't probably the best
Yeah.
for their relationship. Yeah,
Right.
Red Bull Ford. I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, that gives me another reason to kind of be interested in Red Bull. I've really been impressed by Max Verstappen, and so I've kind of reluctantly been getting on the Red Bull train. I sort of was excited for them early when they like were trying to battle with the dominant Mercedes, but once they achieved dominance themselves, I was like, get off the Red Bull train. But I got this. I got my Red Bull.
Oh, there you
This is a
go.
little birthday present for me that I haven't. I guess it wasn't a surprise, but it's my Red Bull car, and I'm getting quite a collection going here. I don't know if maybe this is boring, but I got my Ferrari here.
There you go. That's what's up.
I've got my Aston Martin here. You got a Williams over there, don't you?
I do. I've got my old school Williams on it with a little Porsche 911 behind it.
And I got my McLaren here.
Of course.
So I got
McLaren.
3
of course.
teams so far. Well, 4 teams once I open up and put together my Red Bull. I'm such a kid. Man. I'm a little boy. That's all I am.
They're like Pokemon, man. You got to collect them all.
Gosh, I know this is a tangent, but I went to the mall yesterday to buy myself a birthday present, and it wasn't this Red Bull. Speaking of being a little boy, I bought myself this nice skate deck. Like not just the deck,
you really?
A whole skateboard. And I paid a little bit to get like nice trucks and wheels and bearings and everything on it. So, I could show up here with a severe injury soon.
There you go. You're going to end up like my dad.
I know. I thought about texting him, to be honest, and being like, hey, any words of advice for a guy that's too old to skateboard here? But
stay out of parking lots.
But anyway, speaking of your Pokemon, went to the mall and there was some sort of a Pokemon convention going on.
Wow.
And there was it looked like a farmer's market with a whole bunch of like booths and tables, and everybody was just selling like Pokemon cards in these like nice cases and stuff. So like I guess they must have been good collectibles. There was a few places that had sports collectible cards and stuff too, but I mean, I'm not kidding you. It was like there was at least like 50 different booths, and it was all just Pokemon people. So it was kind of interesting.
Man, if only I had the foresight as a kid to not actually use them as playing cards, but to just save them. Who knows?
My kids did that. I didn't have any interest in it. Of course, I was a little old for it, but like when my kids were doing it, they had to we had to put the kibosh on it. Like, no, like it was getting out of control, and the school had to outlaw Pokemon because all the kids were in these intense
oh man,
it was like not only was it the only thing they talked about, but like it was turning into like fights and disputes about how people ripping each other off. I don't know, it was crazy.
Dang. Yeah. Pokemon doesn't seem to be bringing the world together like Formula 1 is.
You remember when Pokemon Go was like the little app on the phone or whatever?
I
took over?
I was obsessed. I have to admit.
Oh, you did? You were?
I was part of it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Just for the summer.
One day around that time, I was living in Austin, and we had my band had a gig, and the gig was so full of people, like way more people than we ever got to a show. It was just like, we were playing like a coffee shop or something, but it was just like everybody was there, and they were being a pretty good crowd. Turns out the reason they were there was one of those like Poke Gym things or whatever, right by the coffee shop. And so they were just there playing Pokemon Go. It's like they didn't care about us.
That's so funny, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You're like, buy our CDs.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, yeah, that was a bit of a Pokemon tangent. I don't know where the overlap between Pokemon and F1 is, but something tells me that there's plenty of players in the Pokemon. F1 in the
Well,
F1 group.
Honda's running an engine supply. Maybe they'll do a one-off livery or something when they go to Japan. That would actually be some genius level marketing right there. If there are any Honda people listening, I'm putting it to you. You can have that idea for free. Just get me tickets.
Oh, come on, man! Don't do it for free. Make them pay you. Give you a check.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe just to come back to F1 a little bit. So upcoming preseason testing shakedown going on. It'll be running by the time this episode goes up, and then we'll find out once all the news leaks what's been happening. It's just basically going to be, as I understand, just a bunch of data collection, and of course, just seeing if their cars can actually run at distance. I think is what they're really looking for. You don't want a car that's going to blow up after 5 laps. So, well, we'll see how it goes. But maybe just to kind of go back a little bit, there were so many great moments from this past season. I jotted down six of my favorite kind of moments. We saw a lot of chaotic moments. There was, of course, in Spain, where Max Verstappen totally speared George Russell and got a 10-second penalty for it. Mad Max on a run. Do you think he has the capability to turn it around this season? Do you see him getting another championship? Do you think McLaren are gonna hold off, get a second consecutive?
I mean, yeah, man. Max Verstappen can do it. 100% can, and to the extent that his late season success in 2025, I almost put him as my favorite for winning it all of this year. I mean, obviously anything can happen because the regulations are so different. It's going to be an interesting year, and there's going to be a shakeup. But just if all I have to go off of is driver talent, I mean, who's better than Max? I don't think there's anybody. He outperformed the car seemingly, and was a couple points shy of winning it. This year. It was right there. So I don't know, man. I'm definitely going to be watching Max and seeing if he pulls it out again. I think he could. I think he could win the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd really like to see more McLaren battles. Just kind of them going back and forth. If you remember back to Austria was a really good. It seemed like it was the whole race where they were just kept kind of swapping places, and then of course Colapinto pushing Oscar onto the grass kind of ruined the momentum. But
yeah,
they raced really clean. They had a really good run, and there were other places like Canada. That was a decent one until Norris binned it. But
yeah, I mean that was the story of the year, to be honest. McLaren, really, with two number one drivers. They call it no number one drivers, but I think it was more like they're both good. I mean, Lando is he's a champ now, and he was a great, he put in a great performance, and Oscar is no slouch, man. He performed very well, and clearly he's a great driver. I think he got a little rattled at the end of the season because he was just trying to cling to the lead, and made a few mistakes here and there, and it cost him the championship, really. But yeah, that's a great setup. They had a great car, and I like to think they'll have another great car this year, but you never know. This was somewhat of an anomaly the last couple of years, how good the McLaren was, because before that it was a mediocre car. It wasn't a dominant car at all. And so with this shakeup in the rules, they might not be great, but they do have two really good drivers. I think that's a good situation to be in, honestly. And yeah, I'd like to see them battle each other. And now that Lando's got a championship in the bag, at least for me, I wouldn't mind seeing Oscar win that one. I really wanted Lando to get one, and now I don't care. I want to battle.
So, yeah, they've been kind of I think it started like 2024. They started their upward trajectory. I can't
Mm-hmm.
talk today. With I think Norris finished second, Oscar finished fourth in the championship in 2024, and then of course last year it just kind of came to a head. I'm hoping I'm kind of in the same boat you are. I really want Oscar to come back and take a championship now that Lando's already won it. But I don't know, man. They made so many small kind of mistakes last season. Of course, there was the double disqualification in Vegas where their planks were too short. There was the very first race in Australia where, I mean, Australia was just so chaotic, right? But both McLarens going off and then Oscar losing it in the grass and coming back in dead last. Uh, Norris putting into the wall in Canada, Oscar putting into the wall in Baku. Just a lot of small, stupid mistakes really added up for them over the course of the whole season.
That's true. Kind of came with this analogy with what it seemed like McLaren did because they were dominant at the end of 2024 and then kept that dominance going into 2025, and then at sometime point mid season last year, it was like they took this, to use a little bit of a soccer analogy, they packed the box and just held on. Sometimes in soccer, you get up a goal, and then instead of trying to like go on the attack, you just play defense and just pack your penalty box full of
Mm-hmm.
defenders so that the other team just can't score, which isn't great to watch. But that was kind of what it felt like. It was just Lando is just doing just what he needed in the end to hang on to the championship, and you can't really blame those guys. It's very hard in this sport to just dominate. Everybody's constantly making updates, and then you've got other teams that have great drivers like Max Verstappen just pulling it out of nowhere and making a challenge for the championship. Now, I'm still very suspicious of that double DNF or double disqualification for Vegas with the skid plates. That it was late in the season. Both McLarens, the two that are in like the championship lead, like get disqualified. That really seemed just circumstantially really weird. Like the F1's trying to make it be a dramatic finish. But it happened, and I guess rules is rules.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, well, maybe not yet, but are there any other like moments that really stood out for you last season that you're like, oh, I think this is like one of the top ones?
Well, you know my number one. We talked about this in the while the season was going, was Hulkenberg getting that podium. That was
Yeah,
my favorite moment of the year. Nothing knocked it down from that. It's just too much. Like that guy, he's a likable character. He's a good driver. He's been doing this for so long. 230 some odd races uh, of not ever being on a podium, and he finally got that podium. That was just awesome to me. I love that. Uh, and then yeah, there were some other ones, but the signs getting a podium for Williams. I'm sure that was on your list. I don't want to steal your thunder, but that
yeah,
was sweet. Uh, Lewis Hamilton winning the sprint race in China was fantastic. It proved to
yes,
be sort of a red herring, if you will, of his ability to squeeze stuff out of that car. He just did not have a good year, but that moment was awesome. It was very early in the season. I think like whatever round 2 or something, he wins a sprint. It's like, oh man, Lewis, he's back. He made a great choice going to Ferrari, and then it just all kind of came apart at the seams.
yeah. You're right. Definitely, Carlos Sainz getting two podiums for Williams, one in Baku and the other in Qatar. Mind blown, man. But yeah, the team that like kind of stood out to me is kind of having the worst issues was definitely Ferrari. Obviously, the double disqualification in China, like you said, but also the race at the Netherlands, man. That was such a bad race. For Hamilton, bend it into the wall, had kind of a twitchy moment, and then Kimi Antonelli punts Leclerc into the wall, in the same wall just a few laps later. Like, just such bad luck for him. And then I think my favorite overtake of the whole season was in Australia. Piastri, like I said before, he puts it into the grass and he comes back in last, and he's kind of just on a tear to catch back up. And through the fast left and right hander in Australia, Piastri puts a great move on Hamilton to take the place of ninth away from him. If you haven't watched that one, I definitely suggest going back and watch it. It's such a fantastic overtake.
I'm sure I've seen it. My memory is just not good, so I'll have to go back and watch that highlight to remember that one. That's round one, man.
That was a long time ago. My other favorite overtake was Ollie Behrman in Mexico. If you remember, Max and I think it's Hamilton are kind of scrapping early on in the race, and Behrman finds a gap in all three of those cars and takes fourth place from Max Verstappen. What a fantastic run from that guy. Just overtaking a world championship in his first season. That was such a good one.
I mean, for sure, Ollie had a very good year. I think he really proved himself. He had gotten in the car a couple times, I think, with Ferrari and done a good job for them before he ever was, full time in a car. But in his campaign there, first full season campaign, I thought Ollie Behrman was one of the top rookies. Hadjar as well had a great season. Who can forget the round one disaster in his first start, spinning out on the formation lap in the rain, and Lewis Hamilton's dad having to console him, but really just putting that in the rearview mirror and coming out there and showing that the guy belongs in F1. I thought that Hadjar was great, and now he'll find himself in the Red Bull. So let's see if he gets crushed in the Red Bull carousel.
Yeah, you mentioned Hadjar and Behrman. Those are both guys that outperformed their teammates by some margin. So I think they're going to have another really good upcoming season. I really hope Hadjar has a really good season being against Max. Max, of course, is, as we saw last year, didn't exactly play fair all the time, and likes to rely on the stewards to help him out a little bit. Dirty, in my opinion, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, you really put my memory to the test here. I'm just trying to I'm racking my brain right now trying to think of my favorite overtakes. Now, and I know I was looking back through my notes. I was trying to find one. Late in the season, there was an Oscar Piastri move, but now I can't remember. Trying to remember if it was in Vegas or I don't know. Now you put my memory to the test. This is make for bad podcasting. You might have to edit me out there.
It's all good. We also saw some pretty heavy crashes. There was Yuki Tsunoda at Imola, where he flipped his car. That was a pretty hefty one. And then, of course, Gabriel Bortoleto in Brazil in front of his home crowd. Of course, we're glad that both drivers walked away okay. But, man, Bortoleto's crash in Brazil was just out of the blue. So chaotic. And, you watch that camera angle down at turn one, and the whole camera shakes because he hit the wall so stinking hard.
Yeah, that was insane, man.
Yeah, so glad he's okay.
Yeah, there was just debris, barely a car left.
Yeah, and the debris hit another car, wasn't it? I think it might have been Hulkenberg, maybe. I can't remember who it hit, but there was a bunch of debris flying into the cars in front of him. Just out of control.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, but crashes is such a touchy subject in Formula One or autosport at all, right? Because they are spectacular, and it's something that I think sometimes people like seeing the crashes because they're just, you can't look away. That's why they say look. it's like you're looking at a train wreck or you're looking at a car wreck. We're fascinated by the level of wreckage and the dramatics of it all. But at the same time, we don't want anybody getting hurt. You don't want, and luckily in Formula One, even in the worst of crashes, people have walked away uh, in the last 20-30 years, really since Senna. Although there's been fatalities in F2 and
fatalities in F1 too. So maybe a decade, maybe.
What was the last fatality in F1?
Jules Bianchi. I'm probably saying his last name wrong.
Why did I think that was an F2 incident?
I don't know. I don't know why you thought. 2015 was the last one. So he died from complications due to his accident. Yeah.
And he was close with Charles Leclerc, right? I mean, that was.
I think they're like cousins or something like that, or like he's
uncle or something.
Yeah, like his godfather or something like that. Like they're super close. I think they are related in some way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we don't see any more of that. I mean, they've really made a lot of safety improvements in the sport over the years, because back in the day, it was an extremely dangerous, highly deadly sport. The cars didn't have all the safety stuff that they have now, the gear, the crash helmets, the fireproof suits, the harnesses that keep their necks safe when they have these high G impacts. Because that was another one that it has claimed a lot of lives, is those. It's like, man, we're kind of in a dark area here, but those internal decapitations basically is what happens. They hit with such force, their neck severs. But that all of that safety mechanism that you see them pulling on and taking off as part of the unit that connects to their helmet and everything. So all those things, and we've seen such huge impacts. I think the Halo has saved multiple lives since they installed the Halo. The things I can think of, in just the last few years, there was an incident where Zhao went upside down. Zhao Guanyu went upside down, and his head would have been grinding against the pavement if not for the Halo. And then his car hit at a high speed upside down, hit one of the barriers and flipped up over the barrier and got wedged upside down between the fence and the barrier. And that was spooky. There was one in the battle between Max and Lewis where they were was it at Great Britain? Where was that
Great Britain was Zhou, but Italy was that incident with Max.
Okay, so Max's car, the rear end went up on the top of Lewis's car, and his rear wheel was coming down on Lewis's head, and it actually made contact with his helmet.
Yes.
But because of the Halo, it couldn't crush his head completely. Otherwise, I think Lewis would either be dead or paralyzed. That was insane.
And then that was something I was talking to my wife about just last night. I was like, man, had the Halo not been there, I'm pretty sure it would have snapped Hamilton's neck.
Yeah.
It would have been a very different situation.
Full weight of that rear of the car right down on him. So spooky. And then, of course, Roman Grosjean, probably the crash, one of the craziest crashes that we've seen in this sport. And I think he'd have lost his head if no Halo was there, because his car wedged between two steel plates that were there on a barrier, and his car went straight through those. And I don't even
probably would have had a concussion or something, not been able to get out. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think he would have, if there was no Halo, which is a titanium, a piece of titanium to their cage to protect their head. I think it would have taken his head off. And he slid through the cockpit of the car, stayed intact, and went in. But of course it ripped his car in half, which ignited the fuel, and he was just in a ball of flames. And that's how a lot of these the old F1 guys have died, is getting burned. But because of the fact that he has a whole procedure for how to get unhooked and get out, his fire retardant suit. He came out with really burns on his hands was the worst thing, it seemed like. And they got him out of there, and he walked away. So yeah, man, there's been some crazy stuff, and I don't know how we got onto this topic,
I don't know.
But yeah, the safety things have really helped and made the sport a little bit more fun to watch, because you don't have to really be as worried that somebody might get seriously injured. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Going back to your point before, I think there is, you're right, a point where we do want to see crashes because it's something interesting and not something you see all the time, but you do want everybody to be safe. And, I think back to, those crashes like Joe or Max hitting the barrier at Great Britain, or you're right, like Bortoletto's crash. They're spectacular to watch, and there's that moment where you sort of hold your breath, and once they walk away, you're like, okay, now we can talk about it. A lot of crazy stuff just happened just last year, man, and even the year before. My fingers are crossed for another rainy Australia to start off the season, which is coming up, man, March 8th. So we are 5 weeks away. It's happening. It's all coming up super quick.
Right. Well, you bring up a good I guess transition of something that I was going to talk about, and that's just the upcoming calendar. We've got several different things to look out for coming up. Of course, we talked about the Barcelona Shakedown, which is this week, and then the Bahrain testing. So they go to Bahrain for the official testing, and that's where we're going to really get interested, right, in seeing how the performance of these vehicles are. That's, I think, on the 11th of February, and then again on the 18th. So there's 2 tests. As far as
2 weekends. I think, assuming those are weekends, or maybe they're like Wednesday to Friday or something like that.
Yeah. So we've got those tests, and then the Netflix Drive to Survive comes out on the 27th of February. So that's a thing for people to watch. Not everybody watches it, of course, but yeah,
I might actually watch this upcoming season to just kind of recap the last one. Last season was so good.
Yeah, it's a good way to relive it. We will say, they tend to play up some dramatics. So
yeah,
there's that. But then you're right. Yeah, Melbourne, the 6th of March through the 8th of March, and lights out and away we go, man. So we're coming up. Coming up on it. It's a really short off season, especially now that there's like 24 races or whatever. It's a short off season.
It is such a short off season, because we ended in, did we end in December? The first week of December? Is that when
Something
it was?
like that, yeah. It goes all the way into December now.
Yeah, so it's only been a month. We've only been gone for like a month and a half, really.
Yeah, pretty wild.
But we're back. I'm excited, man. I've got high hopes. I really want to see Cadillac do well. I think Audi is going to do something interesting. I think Ford, with their partnership with Red Bull, is going to be something interesting. And as much as I want Oscar to win, I've got to see those papaya guys go down in flames.
Yeah.
The big thing, obviously, that I'm looking forward, Williams. I want to see what they're going to do this year. They're on the upward trajectory and have been. Last year, their best season in a long time. I really hope that they can capitalize and do way better this upcoming season. So my fingers are crossed.
I'm with you there. One of the things I love most about Formula One is I do have a couple favorites, but I can be won over by anybody out there.
Yeah.
Any driver. If something is catching my eye, I will be, more than happy to cheer for them. I will be watching this guy, and I will be watching.
Yes.
I will be watching Aston. I want to see what happens with the Adrian Newey car. So that is going to be one of my big focuses as we start off the season. So, let's see what happens. And because I think if they get a good car, I would love to see Fernando taking podiums or even challenging for the championship. I think it would be sweet. I'm always rooting for the old guys,
yeah.
I'm an old
your
guy,
age group.
So I want these guys to win. I think I'm the exact same age as Fernando, that. And Lewis is a couple years younger than me. So, but he's still one of the older guys. So I'm watching those guys. I'm watching the Hulkenbergs. I'm trying to trying to cheer for those guys out there still doing it.
Well, cool, man. We're back, and I think we'll keep the same sign off that we had last year, with saying adios.